If you're still paying your vendors through paper checks, even though the process is familiar, sounds easy, but it is costing you money. And in this video, I'm going to give you 3 areas where paper checks is costing you more money and you're not aware of it. And stick till the end where I will share one risk that you have with paper checks that's not even financial, but it is causing you poor vendor relationships. So if you're joining me for the first time, welcome. My name is Sachin Sharma. I'm the founder of Procure Desk, where we help growing companies automate their procurement and AP process, and of course digital payments. So let's jump right in. Number one is time. Now, to cut a paper check, right, you gotta create a batch, print it, get it signed, mail it, send the envelopes, right, and all that. And all these activities cost time. Now, you might not, factor that all the time in, but if you think about scaling your company, if you're cutting 5 checks a month, it's fine. But when you have to cut 500 checks a month, that process doesn't scale, and you have to always add headcount to make it work. The second aspect of this is you always need somebody to sign it, and if they're not available, if you're physically signing, then you have to wait for that person to come back, and that again, cause a lot of back and forth, which is lost in productivity. And think about the time of the person who's signing, right? I think they have better things to do than rather than signing checks. So that's number one, time. Second is the cost. Now, as per the Association of Financial Professionals, the cost to cut a paper check is around $4. Let's do simple math. Let's say you make 1,000 payments per quarter, so that's $4,000. The cost of running a digital payment is around $1 or sometimes lower than that. So if you think about that on a quarterly basis, that's $1,000 versus $4,000. So that's $3,000 that you're losing by cutting paper checks. And do the math over a period of a year, that's around $12,000 lost just on paper checks. And I'm assuming a very low volume, because as you scale your operation, this volume goes up, the cost goes up. So do the simple math, look at how many invoices or payments you're making every month, and consider that $4 versus $1 on the digital payment, right? Number 3 is the risk of error and fraud. So checks gets lost, they can be forged, right? There are a lot of errors or frauds that's involved, and a lot of times vendors don't get the payment, and then you have to reissue the check. And sometimes, the check, the bank might ask for like a fee to cancel the check, which could be as high as $25. So it's not cheap to cancel checks and so on. Checks might be uncashed, and then you have to reissue the payments. There's a lot back and forth goes on. So with a digital payment process, not only you are avoiding these risk of error and fraud, but also you could, I would say, enable a self-service where vendors are responsible for maintaining correct payment information, including their ACH information, their addresses, and so on. So the information stays up to date, and you are not involved in sort of phishing scam where you update the information by mistake and so on, right? So now let's talk about the bonus tip where I said, this is not even a financial risk, but it's causing you vendor relationships. When you issue payments through paper checks, a lot of times it's good for many companies think about this as a good cash flow strategy, right? So we can always tell the vendor the payment is in the mail, right? Or the check is in the mail. And in a long-term basis, it doesn't help, because companies start looking at you as a customer who doesn't pay on time, and you always get deprioritized when it comes to servicing the customers. Now, a vendor will never come and tell you, but in our experience, we have seen this over and over, where if you just keep on paying the vendor late, eventually this will come back to you either in increased cost or I would say lower level of or SLAs from a service standpoint. So always consider these factors when you are issuing paper checks and the payments are not happening on time, that eventually it's going to come and bite you. So just to summarize, here are the 3 areas where paper checks are costing you money. Number 1 is time. Number 2 is cost, $4 versus $1. And number 3 is the risk of fraud and reissuing the checks. If you like this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button. That'll help us a lot, and you'll get notified when we release a video like this. And thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video.